is easy.
Okay, we're live, so. There we go. Richard's in.
Yeah, I just talked.
Is he coming?
Yeah, I just talked.
Can you hear me?
There he is.
Yes.
Hi, Richard.
Hello.
So it is 7:30 if you would like to.
Yeah,
And
okay.
we're live.
So we can-
Ready to go.
We're ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. According to the time stamp that I see on the screen up there, it's 7:31, so we'll go ahead and we'll move forward with our meeting. So in this day and age, things are obviously different. We have Zoom meetings now rather than in-person meetings here on the dais, so we'll go ahead and start this way. Until further notice, meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals will be held electronically, with the majority of ZBA members participating via remote access in order to comply with the State of Illinois stay-at-home order and pursuant to Village Code concerning electronic participation. Members of the public who wish to comment as to an item on the published legal notice must submit their statement or question in writing to the village manager's office no later than noon, 12 p.m., on the day of the scheduled meeting, and all properly submitted statements or questions will be presented and read during the relevant portion of the meeting. Written comments may be submitted by email to citizencomments, that's one word, at skokie.org, or by mail to the Village of Skokie, Village Manager's Office, 5127 Oakton Street, Skokie, Illinois, 60077. The meeting may be viewed on Skokie Vision cable channels number 17, which is Comcast, or 25, which is RCN, or via the village website. So that is that part of the meeting that covers electronic participation. So we'll go ahead into the meat of the potatoes of getting the meeting started. So again, I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Village of Skokie Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals is created by the statutes of the state of Illinois and by the ordinances of the Village of Skokie for the purpose of granting proper case relief from the strict terms of our zoning ordinance. The decision of this board to either grant or deny relief will be based upon the evidence presented to it and how that evidence is related to the standards for granting relief. All persons who have an interest in a case, either as a petitioner or as a member of the public, either supporting or opposing the petition, or as an independent witness, will be given a chance to speak on the record and to express his or her points of view. The Zoning Board of Appeals is not a court of law, and therefore, we do not follow the strict rules of evidence. However, this meeting will be conducted in such a manner as to hear only competent evidence or statements. Question as to procedure, interpretation, and of the admissibility of statements or evidence will be ruled upon by Corporation Counsel Tyler Kobelski, and his legal decisions will be binding upon this board. Certain cases require a covenant running with the land. This will be prepared and recorded by the Village of Skokie Legal Department, and this is done at the petitioner's expense. Whether or not a covenant is required is a determination to be made by the Corporation Counsel at the conclusion of each individual case. If a covenant running with the land is required, it cannot or will not be prepared until our court reporter has returned to the Zoning Board of Appeals a transcript of these proceedings. The Village of Skokie will notify each petitioner when the covenant has been prepared and is ready for signature. No building permits or certificates of occupancy can be issued until the covenant is signed by the petitioner. Should a petition for variation be denied, or should a covenant not be required, the Board of Trustees will authorize a refund of any required fees. Should it be necessary for the petitioner to request a continuance due to lack of preparation, a case continuation fee of 1/2 of the original application fee is due prior to the rehearing date. This request must be made before any testimony begins. All petitioners must receive a vote of the majority of the zoning board present in order to decide any matter under consideration. Our full complement is 9 members, and tonight's complement is,
Sorry.
how many members do we have here tonight?
We have 8.
We have 8, okay. So tonight's complement is 8 members, making 5 votes necessary to make a determination on a petition. Sorry, Carrie, didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was
Put you on the spot like
proofreading
that.
while you were saying.
Okay, we have 2 cases tonight. The first one is 2021-01Z, 8524 Keeler, and our second one is 2021-02Z, 8630 Keeler Avenue. In the matter of those cases, I will ask Corporation Counsel, has proper notice been served and notarized?
Yes, notice is proper and correct.
It is, okay.
The first case or both of the cases?
Yeah, for both of the cases, I think we may have an issue with 2021-02Z.
That's right, yeah, 02Z will be continued. They did not give notice, but 1Z was proper and correct.
Okay, good, all right, thank you for that clarification. Do we have the representative here for 2021-02Z?
Yes, we'll just have to
Yes.
there we go.
Okay,
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
yes, good evening, sir,
Yeah,
how are
this is
you?
Jared. Yeah, good evening. Hello. Interesting meeting you guys having this for the last probably year. I'm representing Jonathan Yaha from 8630 Keller Avenue.
Okay,
And so, yes, we did receive, we didn't see that we have to notify the neighbors. So it's our fault. Sorry if we caused any inconvenience.
no, that's okay, sir, that's not a problem. So it's okay for your client to show up to continue their case on May 5th?
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good, sir. Then we'll go ahead and we'll hear 2021-02Z, 8630 Keeler Avenue is hereby now continued to May 5th, 2021. That's it, sir. I thank you very much for coming. You feel free to stay on if you like, but if you have something better to do, feel free to leave.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, all right, have a good evening. We'll see you on May 5th. Okay, all right. All right, so we now have only the one case, but before we delve into 2021-01Z, we do have in our packet the meeting from the minutes from our prior meeting on January 6th, where we heard 2 cases, 2020-06Z, 5150 Gulf Road, and that case was approved unanimously, 8-0, and I should say the motion to approve the petitioner's request was unanimous, 8-0. And the other case was 2020-07Z, 9511 Costner Avenue. The motion to grant, again, was approved, 7-1. And that is it. And now we have the minutes, the chair will entertain a motion for the minutes to be entered into the record as is.
I make a motion that the minutes be entered into the record.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jacobson makes a motion to approve the minutes. Do I hear a second out there in Zoom land?
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Shaw seconds. All in favor, voice vote, please.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, I think I heard. Any nays?
Oh, hold on, our phone people. I'm unmuting our phone people.
I'm muting the
Yes,
phone people.
yes.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, so the minutes are approved then. All right, very good. Okay, then we'll go ahead and, thanks Marlene as always for the minutes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll delve into 2021-01Z, 8524 Keeler Avenue. Is the petitioner present?
Yes, we have the architect and the owners,
Architect and the owners.
yes.
Good, the more the merrier. And presenting the case tonight is Commissioner Perlin.
So here and here.
So Richard, I see you in the bottom. Every time I look, it looks like the Hollywood Squares. I can't get over it. Richard, you're in the lower right, the lower left-hand corner. So if you're ready to go ahead and present the case, please go ahead and do so. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I'm going to start by reading a quick summary. This is case 2021-01Z. The address is 8524 Keeler Avenue. Edward and Danelle Krull, for the record Krule, request two variations in order to construct a first and second floor addition, resulting in the continuation of an existing 51.8-foot front yard and 5.74-foot north side yard, rather than the 86-foot minimum front yard and 9-foot minimum north side yard as required by sections 118-123 parentheses B and 118-124 parentheses 6B of the zoning chapter of the Skokie Village Code in an R1 single family district. And I guess I can start by reading some items into the record and giving you my impressions, and then we'll hear some testimony from the petitioners, if that sounds okay, Brian.
Please, Richard, move forward. The floor is yours.
Okay. So the petitioners are requesting a variation, as we've stated before, to construct a first and second floor addition. The Appearance Commission is, they have not yet appeared before it. Presumably, I guess they're scheduled to appear before it. And they'll need a certificate from the Appearance Commission. The village staff, there were several comments. The Forestry Division said tree protection will be required for all trees on site and in the parkway throughout the project. If any trees will be removed, a tree removal permit is required. The Community Development Department is overall generally supportive of the petitioner's request to construct a first and second floor addition. The house and garage appear to have been first built in 1938. The latest addition was constructed around 2001. The house became non-conforming when the front and side yard requirements were changed. The front yards, the subject site's front yard is based on the neighbor's front yards. So in this case, to elaborate, normally you'll look at the statute and it'll require a setback by a certain number of feet. In this case, the number of feet of the setback is determined by what the neighbors are set back. So that's why we have this very large 86-foot requirement. The text change was made for blocks that have a majority of front yards with setbacks other than the required 25 foot. A majority of the front setbacks on the block are greater than the 25-foot requirement, and therefore the required front yard setback is the average of the two abutting neighbors. The existing front yard is 51.8 feet. The proposed addition is going straight above the existing building and should not impact the surrounding properties. The staff has no objections because the building is over 50 feet from the front lot line. The side yard setback used to be universally 6 feet. The ordinance was changed so that wider lots could build taller homes, but they would be required to provide a larger setback. The subject site was most likely built with a 6-foot setback. The building, per the plat of survey, is actually only 5.74 feet, so 5 3/4 from the side lot line. The proposed addition is going over the existing footprint in some cases, but is set back slightly from the existing footprint in others. Due to the size of the lot, the proposed addition should not negatively impact the surrounding properties. And then there's another issue the staff brought up, that the proposed addition above the garage has a kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. This area is accessible from the outside without going through the main house. it appears there's access to the house through a bedroom from the area over the garage. The area over the garage will need to be an addition and not a second residential unit. The staff will verify that this area is truly an addition with connections to the existing house and not a separate unit during the permit review process. So the staff recommends that the petitioner's request be approved with the following condition, that the addition above the garage cannot be a separate dwelling unit. And we'll, of course, add the condition from the Forestry Department about tree protection. So we have proposed findings of fact, and we've got more stuff to read. We have a letter from the architects who are representing the Cruels, and I'm going to make this a little bigger, maybe, if it doesn't cut it off. Oh, that's kind of strange. Okay, let's make it not a little bigger.
Are you trying to call up the letter?
Yeah, I have the letter. It was cut off. Somehow it moved it all the way to the right, but I'm able to see the right part of it now. So this is from GTH Architects, and they will address the letter to us, the Zoning Board of Appeals members. They say, thank you for your kind and careful consideration in reviewing our application for 2 specific setback variances for our homeowner's property at 8524 Keeler Avenue, Skokie, Illinois. Our clients, the Cruels, are seeking relief from specific zoning requirements that currently impact the existing home structure and conditions original to the property's development in approximately the 1930s and through subsequent additions through the 1960s. In order to make any improvements to the home, these current zoning regulations that were not in place when the home was originally built or additions created now create a practical hardship to both the existing home and structure, as well as any potential improvements both our clients and other future homeowners would face given these current regulations. We make every effort to explain the existing hardships that best emulate your requirements and conditions for understanding a specific hardship, as well as explain alternative thoughts and ideas that would not practically lessen this need and request for a variation. So they go on, this is enumerated, and Brian, should I continue to read all this in the record? It's fairly lengthy.
No, I don't think that's necessary, Richard. You know,
Okay.
it's, the packet is,
Yeah. I'll give my impressions if this would be the appropriate time to do it.
yeah, because I'd rather you save your breath for your impressions than reading those extra 2 pages of documentation.
Yeah. That would be good. I ended up doing a lot of talking today already. So I had an almost 3-hour deposition.
Oh, jeez.
So I visited the property yesterday. It's a very large property, and the setback, as was noted, is 51, 52 feet. It kind of looks like you could play a regulation game of football in the front yard. The side setback is relatively small, but there's a very, very large distance between the neighbor to the north, their actual building, and the current garage structure. There's also some very tall trees and bushes, that sort of cover that area as well. My overall impression of this is that since this is going to retain the existing footprint, with very minor variations, and since this is due to the fact that when it was built conforming to the rules that were in effect at the time, given the distance from the neighbors to the north, I didn't really see any problem with it.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's it. You good for speaking for now then, Richard? Well, we can go ahead and talk to the petitioners and their architect and get their feelings on the project and why we're here tonight.
That would be great. Thank you very much, Brian.
Okay, all right, real good, Richard. Thank you so much. Good evening. We have the Cruels on, and we have the architect, Mr. Harding.
Yes.
Hi, good evening, folks.
evening.
Before we begin discussing the project with you, I'll have to swear you in real quick. So,
Yes.
do you affirm that the testimony you are about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge or belief? Please answer in the affirmative.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody not answer in the affirmative? No. Okay, great. All right, great. Again, good evening. And who wants to speak on the record first on the project? Would that be you, Mr. Harding, or the Cruels?
I'll speak first if that's okay with the Cruels.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely, Mr. Harding. Could you please, I know Commissioner Perlin read your letter into the record, but again, can you tell us your name, spell it so we have it for the record?
Yes, it's Jeffrey, as in Jeffrey, middle initial L, last name Harting, Harting.
All right, great. And you're the architect on the project for the Cruels?
I am.
All right, very good. Okay, can you please go ahead and tell us why we're here tonight?
Well, we're here to seek a little relief and some assistance in trying to make some substantial and important renovations to a house that's gotten a wee bit lost over the past 70 years with some additions that were not terribly sympathetic and also not terribly consistent with the original style of the house. Not to say it's not a wonderful house and what's there isn't lovely and can be improved. However, we are starting with a center entrance colonial that was built in the 30s, 40s, as you can see at the center of the image there. And then subsequent additions to the north on the right of the image that expanded over time and are, aesthetically okay, but not very consistent with the house. And then to the left or the south, additions that appear to have been done sometime in the 80s. I have no record of when they were done, but the scale of those are really not in keeping with the house itself either. We've been working with the Cruels now for about a year and a half to try and really massage this house and create something that's really going to be more consistent with the original structure, as well as expanding some of the spaces on the north side and revisiting those additions that were done to the south or the left-hand side of the house to make them a little bit more consistent with an overall scale and character that we're trying to base more on the center of the house, which was original to the house's construction. And the only way to really approach that from an aesthetic standpoint was to create these spaces with a more Dutch gambrel roof, which is more in the colonial revival period of the house. So we're not overwhelming that center part of the home. And we try to be consistent with those applications of architecture and character with both the front and the rear. And I know you don't really have much opinion or recognition of what's happening on the back, but we really want them to be more consistent. The thing we struggled with the most was the fact that we've got this structure that is the garage, which is part of the, pardon the expression, not very attractive snout of the house extending into the front yard. And we thought it best to be approached to make that not a detriment, but how to make that more creative in terms of creating more of a motor court and framing the corner and the L shape of the house in terms of how we look at the exterior elevations and the space we're trying to create above. The Cruels have a lot of family that travel in from out of state during different times and periods of the year for holiday functions and family gatherings. And to get to the point about the conditional approval of the space over the garage, it's really an area where we can use that as more of a Passover kitchen when family are coming into town for holidays and be able to set aside and use that. But also if in-laws are staying for an extended period of time, that's where they can stay. So we're not approaching this as trying to create any type of rental or income unit that the Cruels would want, because with the family and the children that they have absolutely no desire for that. So that was really the purpose of what you see in our plans and what we're trying to propose. Really, we're trying to work within those confines, and seeing that the garage is actually structure-wise perfectly sound and fine to carry a second floor structure, we thought we would try to use it where it is. Otherwise, relocating it to the southern more exposure part of the property would create a backdrop and a barrier that would not allow for better use of that yard space that they currently are able to employ and enjoy on the south side of the property for football or a soccer game or whatever that might be, or landscaping. So that's kind of the general overview and how we've approached this, and trying to kind of make it more cohesive and enhance the house and the character, and not approach it as a situation where we have to start from scratch and tear down the house.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that's quite an undertaking that you got going on there. It's a great presentation that you've done. I don't know if the Cruels want to add anything to what your architect has said up to this point, or?
This is Eddie, and this is my wife Donnie.
Hi.
Jeff really summarized it well, what we're looking to do. We've been in Skokie for 10 years now. This is our third home. This is going to be my final home, and then we want to move again. And we're really looking to make this sort of our forever home. We have 4 kids. Both Donnie and I are from New York originally, so a lot of our family comes to visit us. My wife is the best host of all of her sisters, so people tend to come to us for holidays and us going to other people. So really what we're trying to do is modernize the house in a lot of ways. It's a lovely house, but there's a lot that needs to be modernized. For instance, we don't have air conditioning in the house, so it's very hot right now.
Holy
So
smokes.
things like that. So we're looking to do a major update of the house itself, but also make it more conducive for our 4 kids and for the families that we host. I will reiterate that we have no intention of renting out the place above the garage. It is going to be an important part of our living space, and I have no desire to have renters or anyone who's not family be in our house.
Okay, great. Thanks again for making that point, because again, that's a condition that will be probably put in that will be a condition on approval. So, is there any? Great. Thanks again. Yeah, it's a wonderful house. How long have you lived here? And you say you've been in Skokie 10 years, and this is your third house?
We've been in Skokie for 10 years. We first moved here, and we lived on Keeler, Crawford, between Lee and Greenleaf. And then we moved on to Dempster, between Crawford and Carlisle. And then we moved into this house, a year and a half ago?
November 2019.
Yeah.
Oh,
A year and
okay.
a half ago.
Okay, very good. Okay, great, thanks. All right, great. Do I have any commissioners that would like to mention anything to either Mr. Harding, the architect, or to the Cruels?
I have a question.
Is that David Salovey?
Yes, it is. I have a question. Are there any comments from the neighbors at all?
No, there are not.
Yeah, did Matt?
As of about a minute ago.
Yeah, Matt Brandmeier. There's no comments or anything.
No comments received during the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing that up, David. Very important. Anybody else have anything to say to ask the Hardings or the Cruels?
Brian?
Alan? Is that you, Alan?
Uh-oh.
Oh, do we lose Alan?
Plans.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, Alan's talking. Okay.
You hear me?
You're kind of spotty, Alan. Probably because you're 30,000 feet up in the air.
39.
Go ahead, Alan. See if we can get you.
I just. Plans are magnificent, and congratulations, and I'm glad you're staying in Skokie. Thank you.
Okay, great. I think we caught the second half of your statement, Alan, but it was good enough to realize that it was a good statement. So we'll keep it at that. Thanks for participating, Alan. Is there anybody else that has anything to ask of the architect or the Cruel family? I don't think so. Elaine, you got anything you want to say? No? Okay, very good. Is there anything you'd like to close up with, Mr. Harding or the Cruels? Don't feel compelled to do so. You've done so well already.
No, I think the Cruels have expressed that, that this is a community they've been a part of for quite some time, and they want to continue to be there from the get-go. Both Eddie and Danny have said this is Feet First House, so they're willing to make the commitment. They're willing to stay here. God bless them for willing to take this project on, and we've been on board and working patiently and sensitively with them for the past year and a half, and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, that's it then. If there's no other questions or comments, then the chair will entertain a motion.
Yep. So just a quick comment. So we will add those conditions to the motion, and not because I think anybody here believes that's the intention, but it still has to remain a condition. So having said that, I am going to make a motion to grant a variance. Mr. Chairman, I propose the following in the granting of a variance to the petitioner that, let me get this information on the screen at the same time. I'll be right there. Okay. Why don't we just play a little bit of music in the background?
Should I sing some Frank Sinatra or something, or?
Yeah, okay, here we go. Mr. Chairman, I propose the following in granting a variance to the petitioner, that Edward and Danny Cruel, Krule, are the owners of the lot described in case number 2021-01Z for the property located at 8524 Keeler in Skokie, Illinois, Cook County. Said lot is a plotted lot of record and is abutted on the north and the south by single-family homes, and on the west by a golf course. The determination has been made that the petitioner's request is consistent with the majority of the findings of fact as stated in the Village of Skokie's zoning chapter. I'd like to add the conditions now, that there's no separate dwelling unit above the garage, and that tree protection will be provided as required by the Forestry Department. I propose the variance be granted for failure to comply with front and side yard requirements, and the petitioner be granted the variance. And I think we've got everything covered.
And that all other codes and ordinances of the Village of Skokie shall be
And all
followed.
other, and I'll say that for the record then too, and all other codes and ordinances of the Village of Skokie shall be fully and strictly complied with.
All right, very good, Richard. Okay, we have a motion to approve with the condition that the addition above the garage cannot be used as a separate dwelling unit. Do I hear a second on the motion?
I second it.
All right, okay, very good. It's a good thing about having Elaine here, because she can, her response is immediate. We don't have to unmute anybody. Okay, so we have a second by Commissioner Jacobson, so the chair will go ahead and call the roll. Commissioner Salovey, you're first.
Aye.
Okay, David votes aye. Sean Arden, Commissioner Arden?
He has not
Second.
yet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you vote aye, Sean?
Actually, I think Mike Shaw just second.
Oh.
I'm still trying to get Sean to unmute, so,
Okay, all right. Okay,
because he's on the phone, he might be waving or something, but we can't see him.
okay. Can we get Sean's response?
Can you hear?
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, all right,
Can you
very
hear
good,
me?
Sean. So you're,
Sorry, I said aye. My phone was unmuted. I don't know what this Zoom thing did. I said aye.
oh, okay, very, very good, Sean. That's all we need to know. Commissioner Kirkpatrick?
Aye.
Thank you. see, Commissioner Jacobson?
Aye.
Awesome. Commissioner Gersner, can we get Alan still?
We should. I don't see the microphone doing this, though.
You hear me?
Yeah, Alan.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello?
Are you voting?
Aye.
Aye?
Loud.
I heard aye.
I heard.
You heard aye,
yeah.
okay, good, good, all right. All right, very good. It's hard to hear somebody
Aye.
when, it's hard to hear somebody when they're at 30-some thousand feet. Commissioner Shaw?
Yes.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you, Mike. Commissioner Hato's not here. Commissioner Perlin?
Yes.
Okay.
And
very-
by the way, I think Commissioner Gersner voted aye 3 times.
Oh, good. Well, in that case, you got more votes than you really need. Aye, huh? Okay, and the chair will go ahead and vote aye. So, in the case of case number 2021-01Z, the motion to approve with condition has been unanimously approved with a couple extra votes from Commissioner Gersner. Corporation Counsel, what does the petitioner need to know from here on out?
Sure, we'll be preparing the covenant running with the land, and it should be ready for the property owner's signature in about 2 weeks, give or take.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, well, thank you so much. I just wanted to say too, in the packet, I love the renderings. They were absolutely fantastic. So
Thank
that,
you.
yeah, that, and the last question I really have is, do you ever have any much problem experiencing like golf balls intruding into your property?
So no, we don't. No balls ever hit our house, but our kids do collect golf balls that land in our backyard, right next to the golf course.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. We have a collection of around 14 or so that are on that windowsill right over there.
They found another one.
Yeah, but no, none hit the house.
Good, good. That's what we like to hear. All right, very good. Well, congratulations on the project. Well, obviously you got to go forward with the appearance commission, but like again, from what I saw in the packet, I don't see why that would be an issue. So,
Beautiful
congratulations on your project.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much. You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, look, there's Alan on video.
Yeah.
Alan, we finally got you on video now that the meeting's almost over. So, looks like it's like a freeze frame though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's good. 2021-01C has been approved. That's our only business for the evening. Again, the 2021-02Z has been moved to our first meeting in May, and the second meeting in April has been canceled. So our next meeting will be May 5th, 2021, and I believe we have 2 cases that night. So look forward to seeing everybody there, and that's it. Anybody else have anything else to say? If not, then this meeting of the Village of Skokie Zoning Board of Appeals is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Oh.
Delayed response from Ellen.
I haven't figured out why I can't get an email. I get them from